Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I have a crochet tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how to make this. It's a very simple sweater. It's pretty much just double crochet. If you know how to double crochet, single crochet, possibly half double. I can't, yeah, half double. You'll be able to do this. It's just a very simple, easy sweater. It is made with 5 panels, but and they are sewn together. Show you how to do all that. You can actually use any yarn that you want because I'm going to give you the measurements and all that stuff in the description box, and you just need to chain to the measurement size for each panel, sew together as I show you, and you can change the sleeves if you want. You can change you can add ribbing here if you want. This is a reverse single border. You can add ribbing at the bottom. You can do whatever you want. It's yours. You make it however you like. But I'll just show you the basics, alright? Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so as I mentioned, this piece is made in 5 panels. It has 1 back panel, 2 front panels, and then 1 for each sleeve, so a total of 5. Now, if you look it out in the description box, it will show you a size, small to 4X. What you would normally, your normal chest measurement is, all right? And then right beside it, it's going to show you the size of panels that you need to make, like how many inches per panel to achieve that size, because this, it won't be that size. It has a positive ease of about 3 to 5 inches, so that means it has some give on it of 3 to 5 inches. So all you really need to do is find look at what size that you're wanting, like as far as inches, how many inches you'd like yours to be, and then each size will show you how many inches to make each panel, and then you sew it all together. It's actually really easy. That means you can use any yarn that you want and any hook size that you want. But I will show you the yarn that I used. There is a gauge there and the hook size that I used in case you want to know. The yarn that I used is from Berico. It's the Luca yarn. It is a 50-50 cotton cashmere blend. Now they do classify this as a medium weight number 4. I do say myself that it is a 3 weight, but it does not matter. You can choose any yarn that you like because there is a gauge below. And like I said, all you got to do is really follow the measurements and make your chain to the length that whatever you decide on says. But I did do mine in the small size that you will see down there. So if you see it on me, I'm wearing the small size, and I used approximately 1,750 yards of yarn for that small size. So I'll give you an approximate of amount of yarn I think that you'll use for each size, and that is using a DK weight yarn, a 3 weight yarn. All right, so if you use a different weight, it will take more or less yarn, depending on if you use a smaller or a bigger one. And then the hook size that I use, I'll put all this information below as well, is a 5mm. I cannot find it for some reason. My 5mm jumped off my desk. Well, anyways, it's an H, 5mm. All right. So remember, one more time, in the description box below of this video, all you have to do is look for the size that you would like yours to be, and I will have it all measured out in inches of every piece of every size of panel that you need to make. I'm going to show you the stitch we use. It's extremely easy stitch, 1 row repeat. It's very easy, and you just need to make your panels when you chain to the size that however many inches it says for that panel. I hope that makes sense. And then that's how we do it. All right, so the stitch that we will be using it's a type of a silk stitch. It's like an silk stitch pattern, or an alternate silk stitch, I guess. It's done in a multiple 2. Again, I'll put all this information below in the description box as well, with all the measurements of all the panels and the gauge and everything like that. Now remember, I will not be giving you a chain count. You will just need to chain however many inches it says for each panel that you decide, for whatever size that you want. Say you want to do a large, you know, I'll have large, and I'll tell you the finished size that the large will be with a 3 to 5 inch positive bead, and then I will tell you how many inches each panel needs to be. So you would just chain and the multiple of 2, however many inches it says per panel. All right, and then you go to however length you want, but I will put that down, the length that I did mine, in case you want to go that length. All right, I think that's it. I'll show you the stitch real quick. It's very easy. All right, so remember, once you find the size that you want to do, there's going to be measurements for 5 panels. All right, now what you do is you start on whichever panel that you want, and you want to chain in a multiple of 2 to however many inches that corresponds with the panel that you're making. So say I'm making a panel that needs to be 20 inches long or something. So I need to make my chain measure approximately 20 inches in a multiple of 2. It's always good to be just a little bit more versus less, but you know, get it as close as possible as you can to the measurement that it says. So if I'm making a panel right now, I'm just going to show you how to do the stitch though. And say it's a back panel and it says that it needs to be 20 inches. So I'm going to chain in a multiple 2 until when I lay my chain down, just like that, it measures approximately 20 inches. You can always go a half inch more on the chain if you'd like. It's not going to hurt it. This is forgiving. It's very easy to follow, and like I said, I might be making it harder than what it is. It's not it's not hard. Once you just follow the measurements, and then I'll show you how to sew it up and everything. Yeah, but once you get your panel chain amount to the size that it needs to be, the stitch is just, you know, 1 row. It's a 1 row repeat. We're going to go ahead and do row 1, and we're going to do a single crochet. Now this is how you start every panel. All right, once you get it the size that you want it to be, the whole thing's done in this stitch here. We're going to do a single crochet in the 3rd stitch from our hook. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a single crochet into that stitch. And then we're going to start the repeat of row 1, and we're going to put a double crochet into the next stitch. And then single crochet into the next. And that's what we're going to repeat. Double crochet into the next. And single crochet into the next. Look how easy that is. Double crochet into the next. And single crochet into the next. Now you want to repeat this until you get to where you have 1 stitch that remains. It's just a double crochet and then a single crochet, repeat all the way until there is 1 stitch that remains. All right, when you make it here and you have 1 stitch left, the stitch before should be a single crochet. In the very last stitch, we are going to put a half double crochet. And then that will end row 1. Now row 2 is the repeat row. It is the row that you will repeat until you get it the length that you'd like it to be, or whatever. I'll put a link down in the description box, but of course you can change that. You change any of this that you'd like, you know, make it your own. But row 2 is the repeat row. So what we will do is chain 1, turn our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We will put a half double crochet into the very first stitch. And now what we're going to do is the same thing that we just did on the previous row. We are going to single crochet into the next. So we're going to single crochet on top of the single crochet from the previous row. And then we're going to double crochet. And that double crochet is going to be on top of the double crochet from the previous row. And that's it. Keeping the next stitch will be a single crochet, which should be in the single crochet from the previous row, and double crochet, which will be in the double crochet from the previous row. So this is not the Suzette stitch or the lemon pill stitch or anything like that. It is a modified version of the silk stitch. I'm sure it has many other names, but what we are doing is keeping we're always putting, wherever there's a double goes into that stitch. And wherever there's a single from the previous row, a single goes into that stitch. That's it. And we always end with a half double crochet, and we begin with a half double crochet. How easy is that? Super easy. So this is the row that we keep repeating. Back and forth, back and forth. Remember, it's a single crochet, a double crochet repeat. Single is always on top of the single from the previous row, and the double crochet is always into the double crochet from the previous row. And then when you make it to the end, you half double crochet into the last stitch, chain one and turn, half double into the first stitch, and repeat, making sure your single crochets are always on top of each other and your double crochets are always on top of each other. And then you just keep repeating that, like I said, until you get at the length that it says, or whatever length you'd like. You see what it looks like on me. I got the measurements down below for the size small, which is what I'm wearing. So if you want it bigger or smaller, or longer or shorter, by all means, you do it whatever size you want. But one thing to remember is if you do a different length, make sure that your back panel and your two front panels are that you do the exact same number of rows on those. Okay? Other than that, it's easy peasy. Get all 5 of those panels done. Remember, 2 of them are sleeves. They're going to be pretty much the same, probably, mostly for everybody, because we will add some length on them later. But if you want to make them wider than what I say, by all means, you can do that. Yeah, you can change it up however you want, all right? So just follow what's in the description box, and you got this. And once you get your 5 panels made, I'll see you in a second, and we'll sew them things together. All right, so once you get your panels made to the size that it says here, the size that you decided, we can sew them together, and I'll show you how we're going to sew them together. So you can actually sew them together any way that you want. It really does not matter. I'm going to use a yarn needle and probably the tail of the yarn, or just a piece of yarn. So mine are facing both. When I sew mine together, I have the wrong side of my front panels, and this is the wrong side of my back panel. So I have, how do you say it? This is the front side, and this is the front side. This is the front side, back side, back side. The front sides together, if that makes sense. So what I did is I've sewn this panel right up here at the top. So when I'm done sewing the whole thing completely, I'll flip it right side out. All right. And then the seam is pretty clean, I think, sewed seam. But both sides are the same, really. So I don't think it really matters. But if there's a side that you like better, you can just remember where you can flip it right side out. Or I'm going to. Like I said, you can sew it any way you want. I'll go ahead and show you. So you get your panels all lined up like this. And this is the top up here. Here are your 2 front. Let me fold this. Okay. Here's your 2 front panels. And remember, I got the wrong side of the front panels facing me. And when this is the wrong side. So when I flip it, they'll both be on the right side. So I'm just going to take yarn needle, and I'll show you all the places that we're going to sew it together. And remember, you can use, I'm going to go this way, slip stitch. You can sew it together slip stitch with the hook if you want. It doesn't really matter. Whatever you're comfortable with, sewing it together. But you want to start up and you want to do both across the top of the shoulder, the front panels the same way. So I'm going to do, I've already done this one, and it's all the way to the end. So I'm going to do this one the same, and all I'm doing is matching up the stitches. So I'm just going to go through where I ended, and I'm going to go through the stitch that was ended on the other side, and pull through like that. And then I'm just going to carefully, as close as I can, try to keep the stitches matched up on each side. So let's see, if I take a quick peek, it's always hard because that half double on the end. I hate half doubles. Anyways, okay, so I got this is a single, this is a double. Oh my goodness, that's the half double. I'm going back through that one again. I'm going to go around one more time through that same first stitch into the same one, but I just went around instead of back and forth, just on the first one right here. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to try my best. I'm going to jump to the next stitch, which I do believe is a single crochet, and I'm going to match it up to the single crochet on the other side, and I'm going to go through like this. Now I'm just going to go back and forth. I'm not going to go over and over, although you can, because I'm going to, if you flip it inside out, you won't see it, but then I'm going to go into the next stitch, which should be a double, just going through the top of the stitch, and the matching double on the other side of the other piece, like that. That. And then the next stitch over here should be a single, so my needle in there, and the single, matching single on this piece. And this one, oh, lost my needle, and this is what I'm going to do all the way across until I get to the end. And then if I have any extra, I'll probably just go across it one more time. I usually do. Even if I don't have extra, I'll tie more on. And I usually sew once and then sew back again, you know, just to be certain, you know. You never know. You don't want to come in undone. I like this. I like, a lot of people like the raglan style, you know, that you don't have to sew, but I don't like that style on me. Plus, I don't like, I like seams. Seams make me feel so more secure. So this is what I'm going to do all the way across, and you want to do it, make sure your stitches stay matched up. So I just went through a single, and I'm going to go through this single, matching single on this piece. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up. And you want to do yours, both yours the same way, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how that we'll sew up the rest of it in the same manner, but I'll show you how we put it together to sew up the sides and the sleeves on. All right, I'll see you when we get when we have these done. All right, I have to bring it out here because I don't have a lot of room. Excuse me, in my desk area. All right, so I have these sewn together. They're still facing the wrong way, so as you see, if I flip them, that would be my right side of my work. My seams aren't extraordinary, but they look okay. But what we want to do now is still keep it the wrong way, but we need to open up the whole piece, and I'm going to show you how we will put the sleeves on. So you still got your piece facing the wrong way. Oh, and your neck opening, you want it to be anywhere. It could be anywhere in between 3.5 to 4.5 to even 5 inches. It's not like it doesn't have to be perfect. Any of those numbers will be fine. I think mine's about 4.25, so you know, something like that. Everybody's be different, even because if you use a different yarn or whatnot, just things are different, and that's okay. As long as it's around that area, it'll be all right. All right, so you can see that here's where I sewed it together. I still have these are the wrong sides of my work, okay? And that's what you want facing up. Now you want to take your sleeves that you made, and the longest part, whatever your corresponding size says, so mine's probably, most of them are probably the same, 14 by 15. All right, so you remember what we're going to do is you put your sleeve portion on here. Both sides look the same, so it really doesn't matter. Here's the tail that I stopped at, right? Here's the center. Here's your shoulder, right? You want to make sure that the long part, remember, is going this way. So this is my 15. This is measuring 15. This is the shorter side at 14 for me. All right. And what I usually do is, now both sides are done the same way. You want to try to line the center of your sleeve up with the center shoulder piece. Remember, this is still facing the wrong side. So I just kind of I usually eyeball it, but if you want to take a tape measure, I know mine's about 14 inches, so. And measure. And so right about here, it doesn't have to be exact, but if it helps, you could find your center and take it and put a stitch marker, like tie these pieces to your shoulder seam here with a piece of yarn, or hook them together with a stitch marker. That way they'll stay there and you know that's the middle. And then what you do is you start sewing it the same way. Right here, you take the sleeve and you sew it onto this portion all the way up, neatly as you can. You just sew it as neatly as possible. That's all you can do. And then when you get to your stitch marker where your center is, you just sew it up here to your shoulder seam as neatly as possible. And then you do the other side. So you're sewing the sleeve on to this side. Just make sure you try to keep it as centered as possible all the way down to the other end. And then you do the same on the other side. It's just important that you make sure that you have the long part of your sleeve going this way. And then once that's done, you know, it's all sewn up here. This piece will be sewn here. And the other sleeve will be on the other side. To show you real quick here. You still have it facing the wrong way. My goodness. Let me set it up real quick. And once it's sewn, it'll be sewn like this, right? So the sleeve, when you fold it back over, the sleeve will be sewn onto here, like that, both sides. So it'll kind of look something like that. And then what you have to do is, that'll be sewn there. It won't move. Then what you have to do is start and sew the body together and this side of the sleeve together on both sides. Because you'll have both sleeves sewn on like this, but this will still be open, right? But it'll be sewn to your body portion. So what you do in the same manner, wrong side, still facing you, is I always start at the bottom, but sew in the same way as neatly as possible, starting at the bottom and trying to keep your rows lined up as best as you can so they kind of match up, you know, the seams on both sides. All the way up, and then this will be sewn already because that's what, you know, I just showed you how to do that. And then when you get to the armpit area, you just continue sewing this part, your sleeve, all the way down. And then once that's finished, you can clip it off, and you'll do the same to the other side. So your main body portion will be sewn and your sleeve will be sewn. Remember, it's already sewn on here, so it'll be sewn. And then you can flip it right side out, and your whole piece will be sewn up, and then we can add some border and whatnot on it. So that's how you get it sewn together. Remember, if you don't want to use a yarn and needle, you can do it a different way. You can slip stitch or whatever. But I'm going to use the yarn and needle and get this going. All right, so once you get it all sewn together, you just flip it right side out. So here is the seam that we sewed is now on the inside. So it looks kind of something like this now. I don't have a big desk. I'm sorry. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay. So this is kind of what it looks like now. And I did actually go ahead and make one of the sleeves now. I put a cuff on one of the sleeves. But you can do your sleeves any way that you want. That's what I did. And I'll show you how I did it. But you don't have to do that. But I kind of just made them puff sleeves at the bottom a little bit. And then put a ribbed You do it how you want though, but I'll show you that here in just a second. But first, before we do that, I'm going to go around the bottom with this same ribbing here. And remember, as always, you do not have to do anything like me. Feel free to change anything because it's your cardigan, not mine. I'm just kind of showing you the gist of how I'm putting mine together. Feel free to make yours however you like. All right. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. So let me go ahead and grab my yarn. And I'm going to go around it with single crochet. One row of single crochet first. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my hook. And you want the right side. Remember, the right side of your work is facing you now. The inside, we flipped it right side out. So the seams are on the end. Well, it does have seams you see on the side, but they're not as noticeable as the seams that were on the inside. All right. So I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm going to go around it with single crochet, and then I'll show you how to do that ribbing if you want to incorporate that on yours. I'm just going to start in a corner. Now I'm not going up the sides at this moment. I'm just going to go around the bottom over here to this side, okay? I'm going to zoom back in. All right. I'm going to try to hide this tail as I go. So you can pretty well, on my piece, I don't know, depending on how you sewed it together, I can pretty well see my stitches where they need to go. So I'm just going to start in the first stitch, pull my yarn through that first stitch, chain one, hide these tails as I go, and I'm going to work around putting one single crochet in every stitch. Now if you, I guess like I said, depending on how you sewed it together, you might be on an area that you can't see your stitches well. Just evenly space out your single crochets. Alright, so I'm going to show you what I got done. I was going to do ribbing on the bottom, but I decided not to. So I just keep it nice and clean and simple with a single crochet. So on the bottom, we did that first row of single crochet, and then I just did back and forth 4 more for a total of 5 rows of single crochet on the bottom. And then I clipped off the yarn. And then I did the same around here. I started the yarn down here at the bottom of the rows of single crochet. And then the first row of single crochet, I just evenly spaced it up the side. And then around the neck. And then back down this side. Chained to turn my work and did it again. I did it for a total of 5 times. So 5 rows of single at the bottom. And 5 rows on each side, but like this, back and forth. So what I'm going to do now, I did not clip off after my 5th row. You don't have to do this. Remember, you can do this any way that you want, your edging, your trim, however you want. I'm actually going to do a row of reverse single or the crab stitch or whatever. So I did not tie off because after my 5th row, if you decide to do the reverse single, make sure your work is facing upright. So mine's facing upright right now. So what I'm going to do is, here's where I ended my 5th row. I'm going to start and I'm going to reverse single all the way up around the neck, back around here. And then what I'm going to do is I'll put a maybe 3 reverse singles in a corner, something like that. And I'm going to reverse single around the bottom, around the front side here, and around the back, all the way back around until I get to here. And then I'll have to put, a few extra in the corner here. So I'm going to show you how to do that reverse single or the crab stitch in case you don't know. And then, I'm going to work it in every stitch all the way around, up the side, all around the neck, back down here. And then I'll meet you down here, and I'll show you how we can around the corner in case you want to go around the bottom as well, which I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and get my camera stand, and I'll show you how to do that stitch. Alrighty, so I got the right side of my work facing me. Whenever I ended my 5th row of single crochet, I was on the right side of my work, so I still am. So the reverse single, if you want to do that, remember it's not nothing that you have to do, but I'm going to chain 1. It's always tricky at first, for me anyways. Is we're doing a single crochet, but we're going to be working it in the opposite direction. So instead of going this way, we're going that way. So I chained 1. Now I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it back into the very first stitch, like go around the front like this, and then I'm going to grab my yarn, pull it through, and then yarn over and go through those 2 loops like that. And that's what I'm going to do all the way down. Now eventually it'll start, so again, go see your next single crochet here. Take your hook, go kind of around the front into the next single crochet. It's fiddly at first. It's fiddly. It gets easier though. I hope. There, I put my steady mode on, so hopefully that'll help. So you go into the stitch like that, grab your yarn, pull. Grab your yarn, pull it through, 2 loops, yarn over and go through those loops. Again, go into the next stitch. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and you got 2 loops, yarn over and go through those loops. Go into the next stitch like that. Grab your yarn, pull it through, you got 2 loops, yarn over and go through those loops. So it kind of makes like a twist. See that? If you like that look. But like I said, it is fiddly at first, but it does get easier. I always put my finger on my loop so I don't lose it when I pull my hook back. And then I put my hook in like that. And then I can grab my yarn and pull it through. You do got 2 loops on there. So yarn over and go through both of them. And we're going to do this all the way. Well, I'm going to all the way up. If you're following along with me, you don't have to do this. I'm going to do it all the way up this side, around the neck, back around the other side. And then when I get down over here on the other side to the corner, I'm going to turn the camera back on. And I'll have to put some extra in the corners so it rounds the corner okay. Because I'm going to go around the bottom with this stitch as well. Now remember, this is not anything you have to do. It's not a tricky stitch, it's just a fiddly stitch. How about that? I guess nobody likes a fiddly stitch. But it does get easier once you get to going on it. It's just starting it that's kind of a little bit of a nuisance. But once you get to going on it, it goes pretty quick. And it makes a nice little border for if you like it. So I'm going to continue this all the way around, and I will meet up with you at that corner on the other side. And we'll see what we can do to make that corner round using the reverse single or the crab stitch technique, which that's what it kind of looks like. It has like a twisty. I like it. It's a nice little finishing edge for a simple cardigan. I'm going to go around the bottom though too with it. So, all right, all the way around the neck, back around over here. I'll see you right here. All right, don't tie off. I'll see you there. All right, so I've made it down here to the other end. You can see that I went all the way around the neck and down here, and I'm going to continue along the bottom. But I want to make sure that the corner rounds out okay. Try to anyways. So I stopped you do it the best you can. A stitch before the corner, I think it's a stitch before the corner. And I'm going to put 2, I'm going to go into it. And I'm going to put 2 of these in the stitch before the corner. So this probably is not going to be. So I'm going to go back in that same stitch and do it again. I could be in a corner stitch. I don't know. I'm just going to make it work. Alright, so I'm going to put 2 into that same stitch there. Alright, yeah, that's the corner stitch. Alright, so let's go. Since that's the corner stitch that I just went into, I put 2 into it. I'm not going to put, I just put 1 in the stitch before it. Alright, so I've already put 2 in that corner stitch. I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see, I'm going to put another one in the same spot again. So that's 3 into the corner stitch. I'm going to go and do 1 more. So I'm going to put 4 total reverse singles into the corner. It's not an easy feat for me because it's fiddly. There we go. And now, hopefully that will hold that down, and I'm going to continue around the bottom here. Let me see, putting one crab stitch here or whatever into each stitch along the bottom. Now along this part here, where the row, where we started the row of single crochet that went up the side, probably not going to be able to see the stitches, but just kind of put one at the end of every row. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's really, these crab stitches are like extremely forgiving because they twist over and you really can't see anything other than a twist. Okay. Let me go up. Now I'm going to continue around, putting one in each stitch along the bottom. But let me take a quick peek at that corner. Now you don't have to do your corner like me. I just wanted to make sure that it didn't flip up or anything, you know. Let me see. But it kind of looks like it's all like a wrapped rope now. Check it out. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Alright, so I'm going to continue around doing the reverse single all the way around the back, or the, you know, the front side, and then here's the back. And I'll continue all the way around to where we started. And then I'll put 4 in the corner stitch over here. And then we'll have to end with a slip stitch into our first one. And that will end the border. But always remember, you can do yours any way you like. If you want to do ribbing or some other different stitch, it's completely up to you. You make it how you like. Alright, I'm going to keep going. Alright, so I got that all done. I just slip stitched there, tied off, hide my tail, so that is finished. Now I'm going to show you how I did the sleeve on mine. You can do the sleeve however you'd like, but I do show you. I'll show you here how mine was done. And also you might not, I'm going to decrease mine at the bottom. Maybe you don't want to decrease yours. Maybe you want to increase yours, make yours bell sleeves or something. Whatever you like. I'm just going to show you what I did here. Alright, so here's the sleeve. I'm going to decrease mine, so I've got some yarn here, and I'm just going to start here right near the seam. Alright, and I'm going to pull my yarn through, chain 1. Now I'm going to work around, and I'm going to put a single crochet into every single stitch all the way around. Now you might have a different number than me, but you might not. But I'm going to work until I have a total of 50 single crochets all the way around. So I can kind of tell where they need to go if I flip it, but I'm just going to do my best to try to put one single crochet here where I think each stitch needs to go, and I'm going to do it until I have a total of 50 single crochets. Like I said, if you flip it to the back, I don't know how yours is sewn actually, it really depends on how yours is sewn on. You might be able to see the stitches well and you might not, but I'm going to go for 50, evenly spacing them out, and I will see you back at the starting point. And I'll show you how I'm going to decrease it up, alright? It's kind of hard here. It's hard to see. Alright. So, evenly spacing it up back around until I have a total of 50 at the end, when I make it to the end. Alright, so I made it around, and hey, it took me a couple tries, but I got 50 stitches now. And I'm back at my starting point. So I'm going to use a stitch marker because I'm going to be working it around. I'm not going to end with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to do a row of decreasing. Now both sleeves will work the same. And so that was row 1 of the sleeve, 50 single crochets, okay? And so row 2, what we're going to do now is we're going to do 3 single crochets in a row and then we're going to do a single crochet decrease, and that will be the repeat. So what I'm going to do is jump right over here to the first single crochet. I'm going to single crochet into it, and I want to have 3 single crochets in a row. So that's 1, go to the next one, there's 2, and the next one is 3 single crochets I've done in a row. And now I'm going to decrease. Single crochet decrease is worked over 2 stitches. So we're going to go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, and then we go into the next stitch after that and draw up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over and go through all 3, and that took 2 stitches and made it into 1. And that is the pattern we will repeat all the way around back to our stitch marker for row 2. So again, I'll just do 1 single crochet in each of the next 3. So there's 1, for the next one, 2, and then the next one is 3. And then we're going to do a single crochet decrease. That is worked over 2 stitches. So go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and then you go into the next one. Draw up a loop, 3 loops, yarn over and go through all 3, and that took 2 and turned it into 1. So I'm going to repeat this stitch pattern for row 2 of the sleeve, 1 single crochet in the next 3, and then single crochet decrease. And I'm going to repeat that all the way back around until I make it to my stitch marker. Alright, so I come to the end of row 2, and you should have ended in a decrease here before. Go ahead and move your marker up. You should have 40 stitches now. Now, how tight you want your sleeves here, it really depends on you. You might want to try it on. If you feel like it's tight enough now, you could do some rows of single crochet until you get it to the length that you want it to be. If you're wanting to add a cuff, like mine, my cuff's probably 2.5 inches maybe. Of course, you can make yours bigger if you want, but you want to make sure you leave room for that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and continue along. Now for row 3, I'm not going to do any decreasing. I'm just going to go around and I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. So since I'm not doing any decreasing, when I make it back around to my stitch marker, I should still have a total of 40 stitches. Alright, see you in a second. Alright, so I made it to the end of round 3, and I still have my 40 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and move my marker up, and I am going to start round 4. This will be a decrease row. So we are going to do 2 single crochets in a row, and then a single crochet decrease. And that will be the repeat here for row 4. So we'll go ahead and start off by putting a single crochet into that first one, a single crochet into the next one. So that's our 2 single crochets in a row, and then single crochet decrease is worked over the next 2, just like we did before. Just like that. And that's the repeat all the way around here for row 4. Again, a single crochet once in each of the next 2. So there's 1, go to the next one, there's 2, and then a single crochet decrease over the next 2 like that. Again, single crochet decrease, 1 in the next 2, so there's 1 in the next, so that makes 2, and then we do our decrease, which is worked over 2 stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this pattern all the way around for round 4, and then we make it back to our stitch marker. We will have a total of 30 stitches. I'll see you there. Alrighty, made it to the end of row 4 here, 30 stitches. Move my stitch marker up. Now again, you can test it out and see if that's tight enough for you. If that works for you, you can do some rounds of single crochet until you get it the length that you want it to be. If you want to add a cuff, remember to include that. If you don't want to add a cuff, you know, that's all up to you, however long you want to do your sleeve. But if you would like it tighter, what I'm going to do is, you know what? I'm not going to make it any tighter. I'm not. So we just finished at round 4, we have 30 stitches. So I'm going to do rounds 5 and 6. They are just going to be 1 single crochet in every stitch. So this is the tightest I'm going to make mine. And then I'm going to do the ribs on mine. All right, so round 5, I'm going to work around and I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch, and then when I make it back I'll have 30 stitches still. I'm going to move my marker up, and then I will do it one more time for round 6. Go around putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I will still maintain my 30 stitches. All right, so remember we're on round 5 now. 1 single crochet in every stitch. After that, do another, if you want to follow along with me, make round 6 the same, 1 single crochet in every stitch, and I will meet back up with you after we finish these 2 rows of single crochet and 1 in every stitch. And remember, you will still have your 30 stitches. All right, so I have made it around at the end of row 6, 30 stitches still, and I'm at my marker. I'm going to go ahead and remove the marker because you don't need it anymore, and I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch. And now I'm going to start the ribbing. I'm not going to tie off or anything, but I'm going to start the ribbing right here, and I'll show you how to do the ribbing in case you do not know. You can make the ribbing as long as you want. So I'm going to start with a chain of 13. 1, 2, 4. Now, the starting chain of 13 is going to give me 12 single crochets for my rib, because we are going to start this first stitch here in the second chain, or second chain from our hook. So we don't count this one on our hook. So we skip the first one and we single crochet in the next. So this first row, I'm going to work down and we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch of the chain. I chain 13, did a single crochet into the second stitch, so I should have a total of 12 when I make it down here at the bottom. And then we will start the ribbing. It's very, very easy to do. It's not hard at all. A bit time consuming. But you always want to make sure that you keep count. In case you do a different number than me, like I said, I'm always going to have 12. Alright. All the way down here. You make it to the bottom. All right, so what we're going to do is you can see that this is the stitch we started in. What we're going to do is go into the next stitch and slip stitch, and then we're going to go into the next one and slip stitch, and then we're going to start again by chaining 1 and kind of turning your work, and we're going to be working up this chain here. So since I said that I'm going to have 12 single crochets, I'm always going to have 12, all right? And we're always going to be working in 1 loop only now of the single crochet. So you want to make sure that you don't go into the slip stitches. You want to make sure that you go into the first single crochet down here. We're going to go in a loop that's furthest away from us, all right? And we're going to single crochet, and we're going to do that all the way up. 1 single crochet in that 1 loop that's furthest away, all the way up to top. Now you want to make sure that you keep your stitch count. Like I said, I will have 12 when I make it to the top. So that's 1, 2, and I'm only going into that loop furthest away. That's what I'll be doing from now on, to make sure to give it that ribbed appearance. 1, 2, 3. There's 10. And there's 11, and 1 more at the top. Makes 12 for me. Alright, then I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And now I'm going to work back down that chain, and I want to have 12 single crochets, making sure that we're just going into the loop that's furthest away. But we got to go into this very first one here. So the loop at the very first stitch is furthest away, and then you need to count. Make sure you keep count. 1, 2, 11. It's always important to keep count. Here's 12 for me, because sometimes those slip stitches look like stitches, but they're not. All right, so I got my 12, and again I'm going to do the same thing that we just did. So I'm not going to go into the one that we just started in, but I am going to go into the next one and slip stitch like that, and then I'm going to go into the next one after that, the next stitch after, and slip stitch. And then we do the same thing that we just did. We chain 1, kind of just flip our work, in 12 single crochets in the back loop up, turn it, chain 1, turn, 12 single crochets in the back loop down. And then again you would do your 2 slip stitches, making sure not to go into the one that we started in. And you just do this all the way around until you have no more stitches left that you can work. And then we just seam it shut with however you want to do it, a yarn needle or something. But I'm going to continue this all the way around, keeping count of my number 12 here, always going into that back loop when I'm going up my chain and when I'm going back down it. There's 11, and there's 12. Again, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work around, do the same thing, but now I'm going down the chain. And I'm going to do that, like I said, all the way around. It'll be kind of floppy and weird. It really won't look like too much like a cuff until it gets sewn together, and then it kind of tightens up on itself, like it, you know. But I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll meet up with you when we make it back around and we have no more stitches left. And I'll show you how to sew it up. Alright, so I made it all the way around with my ribbing, and I just came down my row, and you can see that there are no more stitches for me to slip stitch into. So what I'm going to do is a slip stitch back into the same one that I just started this in. So right here. It doesn't have to be exact, but slip stitch into that. Now we just want to seam up this now, just together. You can use a yarn needle and a piece of yarn, or you can slip stitch it together. It's completely up to you. I think maybe I'll just slip stitch it up. How about that? Just want to make sure that they're equal. Alright, so I'm just going to go into a stitch on this side, bottom stitch on this side, this piece over here, and a corresponding one on this piece over here, and slip stitch. Now remember, if you prefer to use a yarn hook and needle, that is fine too, because you probably will see the slip stitch, but that's what I'm going to do all the way up, yeah, until I make it, until it's all the way closed, and that'll be it. Alright, once you get it all slip stitched up or sewn up, to tell you the truth, I think I'm actually going to sew mine. I don't like that slip stitch look. So what I'm going to do is, after I just slip stitch, I'm going to pull my yarn a little bit longer and cut it. And now I'm just going to use my yarn needle in this tail. Just sew it up. Make it, there we go. And I'm just going to grab a stitch on this side and on this side and just neatly sew it up. Any way you choose. I'm going to do the back and forth method. Grab a stitch over here, grab a stitch over here, and go through. And I'll do this until I make it all the way to the top. Make sure to try to keep it even at the top. And then I will hide my tail. Hide all my tails if I have any remaining. Sorry about that. And then that will be it. Our piece will be finished. So let me go ahead and get this done and hide any remaining tails that I have hanging around. There's always tails hanging around somewhere. And I'll see you in a second. Alright, there it is. All finished. Simple. Easy. Just throw it over and there you go. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out all my other tutorials if you have not. I have hundreds and hundreds of them. Anything you could ever want to make. And multiples of them. And until next time, have a good day. Bye guys.